Good morning, everybody. It's Alex here doing another devlog for TerraFarmers. Just gonna wait for a couple minutes for the stream just to boot up and get some tunes rolling here. I hope you all have had a fantastic last few days. It's been a couple days since I've seen you. All right, let's get into it. So, I did a little bit of work off stream, which I know is like sacrilege. My apologies. I just didn't feel like streaming last night while I was working on it. It was outside of my normal stream hours. But last night I was able to make some pretty big improvements over a couple of hours. I'll review those code changes today. But so now when you press 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the number key, you can switch between items in your held hand. If you use the mouse wheel button up or down, it'll rotate between them. Yeah, what's up, Wayback? Welcome. Thy axe, yeah. So now we have held items. When you press G and you have a held item in your hand, it'll drop one item. And when you right-click on it, it'll drop one item. Or if you drag and drop, and you have to do right-click to drop it, it drops the whole stack. For those that may have noticed or may not, I have changed my channel name to Level Up with Alex. And I'll be doing some branding changes, I believe, in that direction, rather than Dignified Reign, which is my gamer tag. So there we go. So that was the big changes I did yesterday. No longer can you hide this inventory, so I doesn't do anything. Let me know if that music is too loud, not loud enough. But currently, the item will follow the mouse. Chop, 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 chop. And today we're going to be working on tools and planting. And if you don't have the proper tool out and you go to harvest something, it lets you know. The first thing I want to fix, actually, is the font for everything, so we're going to do that first. Actually, I guess I'll show off the inventory changes just for those that are interested. So what I've done is I've reorganized our inventory action section in our inventory manager. Now we have our collecting items script, our use items script, our drag items script, and our holding, dropping, and cycling items. And this is the thing I created yesterday. And what we did was, for each instance of player, because we're going to have a multiplayer game, change a scene variable for each player to scroll selector and set that to 1. And this is a value, this is a scene variable that will be holding the current scroll wheel or selector value. And it's just a placeholder. So then we go create object. One second here. Let me finish this description. I'll go back to what you're saying there, way back. So, we then check if the variable ID of inventory is equal to 1. We're gonna, at the beginning of for each player, select it as true. So we added an is selected boolean to the inventory square, which is a true or false statement. So now, if number 1 is pressed, change the scene variable of scroll selector to 1. If 2 is pressed, set it to 2. If 3 is pressed, set it to 3. 4 to 4, 5 to 5. And the reason why we did this, rather than saying to select to set the inventory square 1 to true, is because the scroll selector is universal. So if the variable ID, so if the ID of the inventory square is the same as the scroll selector, set its is selected to true. So that way we can as you can see here, now this allows us to rotate between are selected. Now, all that would do is inside the engine change whether it's selected. So what we did, so what I decided to do as well, is in the initialization script of the inventory, I created a new, where's it at? Where'd I put it? I guess it's not where I thought I put it. Hello? I think I did it in the collecting script. Where'd I put it? Well, we're creating a oh, it's in the hold on, I know where it is. Right here, we're creating it as well as the slot text. We're also creating an inventory selector. And so that gets made and then hidden per square. So when the square is selected, when it is true, draw the selector. So we're not actually moving a selector, we're just showing and hiding a selector, giving it the idea that, or you know, the sensation that it's moving. Now, in the engine that I'm using, text looks funny. And that's because it's not the right... This is a a type script, or what is it? The normal TTF printing format for text. However, in games, especially in pixel art, we need to use a bitmap. And that'll clean up our words, not only the length, but how it appears in the game. So that's what we're going to be doing now. So what we do is we go into our text section. We're going to create a new object. That's a folder. We want to create a new object. It's going to be a bitmap text. We're going to add a font. And I've gone ahead and made one of those offline. They're very easy to make. You can go to... Hey, what's up, Bo? Welcome to the stream. So there's this lovely website called Snowbee, where you can upload a font, right, like here, and then you can export that, and you need to get the, this is called the Atlas, and then you also import the font format, basically, and it'll help select all of the text properly. So to make sure it's pixel perfect and looks sharp, we're going to do that. So I've already downloaded that. We're going to copy this out, or paste it out, put it into our TerraFarmers font section. We don't need that anymore. We're going to paste it in. There we go. So now that we have it in there, we can select the font by going to add a file, going back to going back to my desktop, ExoFarmers, font, and there we go. Now I have the font file. Now that we have the font file, we also need to add the PNG or the Atlas, and there it is right there. Yes, so we're going to make a copy for it, and we're going to hit apply. And we actually want that font to be white, so make sure it is white. And that should be good. We're going to rename this to text. So now what we need to do is in our creation script, change all of the slot text to just text. So slot text to the item text. And now we should have... Okay, so they're thick. Those are thick boys. We need to fix that. But now, as you can see... Okay, that didn't work. This one didn't work. But that's because it's in a different script. And that makes sense. So these numbers are big. We're gonna... Oh, awesome, Bo. I'm glad that worked out. I'd be happy to... I've decided to start doing tutorial videos for the channel. And that's why I renamed my channel Level Up with Alex. And so I'll be doing more state machine work, and doing an actual tutorial, more in-depth tutorials than just like how I'm creating my game. If there's anything that you'd like to know, like to learn, let me know. I'd be happy to share my knowledge. So, let's fix this font. So now we can go back to our game scene, go back to our text, and we're going to change this to a 0.5. When you import your bitmap font, something that's important to keep in mind is that the actual font size is what it will be inside of the game. And I had set mine to 48. And so by turning it, so now by dividing it in half, it's going to be 16. No. 12. So that's what we want for the bottom of our text box. Look at that, much better. However, it's kind of in an awkward place. I'm not sure exactly where we're gonna put this. Maybe up. We'll keep playing with it until we find the right position for it. So now we need to go to our entities UI. It's time for us to pull our UI out. Cool. I will consider that. I was debating about making a video last night. I just wasn't sure exactly what type of video I wanted to make. So, we're gonna move this up here to this corner and see if this helps. Let's take a look. We don't want to update our game. When we do changes like that, we do need to restart it. Okay. I mean, it's not excellent, but you can tell what you have. So let's chop this tree down. Collect some more. Okay. Well, you know, it could be worse, but I'm okay with that for now. I'm gonna see what the double digits look like. Yeah, it's not bad. Could be worse. Let's see. That feels good. I'm really liking the way that this is starting to come together here. All right. Let's fix the font for the trees, and that'll be in the planting manager. Trees, Control F. Look everything for slot text, and change slot text to text. And it should be that simple. Replace. Press go, and now... Okay, that's massive. But we can fix that. So right now it's spawning at the bottom of the tree. And that's fine. Oh yeah, also I fixed trees so you can properly walk behind them now. That's the other thing I did last night. But fixing that text, it is massive. All right. So instead, we're going to use the player to spawn it. And so now we're going to spawn the text location. Here we are. That is now spawning on the player. And I think I need to do plus. I need to go up. I think in GDevelop it's the other way. No, that seemed to not make any difference at all. That makes sense, because the text isn't created yet. I can't possibly know that in this order. So what we need to do is then, once we create it, change the position of it. So now we need to position. I don't think I can do a center position on the text, because text doesn't... I think that this is... well, we'll find out. We'll find out. We'll set this to... We're just going to do it this way first to see if that changes anything. That didn't seem to do anything, did it? I broke it? Oh, it's way over there. All right. See if I can find it. There it is. All right. That's a wrong position. Hmm. Why is it doing that? That doesn't make any sense. Hold on. Minus players X minus the text width. Why is it spawning way over there? Wait, what? Alright. I'm making this hard for myself. Okay, for one, I literally can't stand how huge that text is. So we're going to change the scale to 0.25. Okay. Still not small enough. 0.1. Okay, not quite. 0.15? 1125? 1.125? Is that the right number? Bang! I'm trying to think of... I want to center it and I think turn it white. And I decided I don't want to spawn it on the tree, on the player. We were going to do the tree. But we're going to fix this. Come on. For the Y position, we're going to do plus 100 and see where that goes. Oh, it's way down there. Okay. So, in this case, we want to minus 12? No, 16. Minus 16. That's about right. Now we need to put it minus 32 in the other direction. I'm going to bulk up this a little bit, just so I can see it a little bit better, and then we're going to change the font to white. I think white would be much easier to see. And then we need a new tooltip to let people know that they need the right tool. This one's kind of long. Okay. Let's also text tint? I don't know why it's not turning it to white. Oh, it's okay. For one, I can't change the tint if I delete it. Alright, so now what we need to do is, because it's a bit text, you can't change the color of bit text. I don't think. I could be wrong there, but I don't think that that's true. We're going to delete text slot because we don't need it anywhere. Oh, no, actually, no, we do. Cancel. We do need that for our debug menu. We're using that. In our text. Hey, thank you for the sub there. I appreciate that. Yeah, so we already have the font set, but because it's black here, we're not getting anywhere. So we need to go back to here. And we need to change the color to white. I can do a gradient? What? Hold on. We can add strokes. Oh my good golly gosh. We found it, folks. I think that's what we need. I think I want a pretty bold outline. And then we're going to shrink it down to 60, 32, 48 times 3. Yeah. And then we are going to export, just like we did before. Save it. Copy this, cut it out, go back to our desktop, into our folder, into our font section. We're going to just overwrite both of these. And then go back into our game and fix the font. So now we just need to replace the font. Actually, we could technically leave the font and just change the atlas, but might as well be thorough. There we go. Now let's apply that and review. Much better. Let's see in our items. Oh, yeah. That just feels so much better. That really pops off the page. And it doesn't matter how many times you press this now, it won't blur and get darker. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. You know what would be really funny to me? I feel like a child, but I want to add, every time you chop the tree, it says like chop. Chop, 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 chop. Like it's a particle, almost. The chop, like a comic book. It's like chop, like the word randomly appears. Chop, 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 chop. As you're like hitting it. So let's go to our tree node. Nodes, tree spawner. We're going to add a new point onto the tree. This will be the same for all trees, and it'll be right here. And we're going to call this, oh, you know, I didn't even think about that. I could be spawning the words at a specific point. I don't know why I was making that so hard for myself. But we're going to call this hit text. We're going to apply that. And now we're going to go into our planting manager. And when we hit it, we're going to have to add some more stuff. We're going to create a new text object, and we're going to put it at the tree spawner point x of hit text. I forgot what I called it. My brain. And then we're going to do the same thing for the Y position. And then oh, oops. This is for... Hold on, I need to move this. To here. Every time we hit it. Right here. So we need to shake it. First, we're going to create a text object. We're going to shake the tree. We're going to wait a second. And we're going to delete the text. So the first thing, that's just the first thing we want to do. And make sure that that works. Missing the tool. Okay. Get the tool. Chop. Whoa! Right. I didn't tell the tree what text to put. That makes sense. We need to change the text. To say chop. Chop. And then we're going to scale it down so it's not humongous. And honestly, this could even be... Well, we'll see. We'll see. So what we're going to do first is just get the most simple version of that working. Okay. We have it. Chop. Chop, 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 chop. Chop, 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 chop. Chop, 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 chop. That's actually really funny. We need to increase. So we need to also up here add a Z order for the text, and the text always needs to be the tree spawners Z order +1. So it's always above the tree. Okay. Oh, but because the trees are set to a Z order, hold on. We can do this. This should work. Good. Chop. Chop, 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 chop. Chop, 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 chop. That is way more satisfying than it should be. What the heck? And now we can tinker with like where we put it, right? So knowing that it's going to be generating text, we can actually move it over, and then we can bring it down. So now the chop will actually be chopping somewhere around where the player might actually be chopping, for example. So we can go back over here and go, chop. Oh, right, we don't have my axe. Come here. I need to chop trees. Chop. Chop, 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 chop. Chop, 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 chop. That's ridiculous. Chop, chop, chop. Chop, 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 chop. Chop, 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 chop. Oh, that's... Yeah. Well, so right now, as the tree is tweening, we don't hit the same spot, but you're right. That was going to be the next feature, was to add some randomization. So now that we have the Z order set, we can go back to our tree. And instead of shaking the text... Oh, we could actually make it fade out. But maybe not. Let's see real quick. So now when we create the object at the tree X hit location, we can actually do point X. Actually, if I spawn on a point. Oh. No, I can do this. Plus random in range -5 to 5. So now on the x-axis, because we don't want it to necessarily do that on the y yet. Now when we have this, it should, yeah, chop chop chop, get some more randomization. Let's add a little bit more. Let's go 10 to 10. That's a big that's a lot of random range. Give me the axe. Chop. 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 And then we're gonna do the same thing, but to the this, and we're gonna go minus random in range, and we're gonna go 5 to -5. Pick this up. Cha-cha! 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 Chop, 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 chop. I think you need some random chop text rotation. Oh, yeah? Let's see. We can go with the angle of text. Wait. Why won't it let me select text? Hold on here. Text. Rotate. Random in range. -10 to 10. I just want to see what that looks like. That's going to be a little whack. No, that didn't work. Why? Oh, because it's way down here. Duh. Duh. That didn't really seem to do anything, did it? Oh, degrees a second. No, we don't want that. We want angle. Is equal to... Okay. Hold on. This is important. So in GDevelop, for those that care, it's weird. This is weird. I don't know why it's like this in GDevelop. I've never seen it. I don't know why. I just don't know why. So this is 0. This is... No. This is 90. And this is 270. So 0 would be right here. Yeah. 0 and 360 are the same spot. So if we want, we start technically facing degree 270. So if we're going to be moving to a specific angle, we have to know where we're facing. So we want to do our random in range to 265 or 275 if we're going to scale by 5 degrees. And that'll be anything between those two. Okay. Is it different for when... Why is that? That's the way it is for the mouse movement. Why is it not the same for regular sprites? Or is text specific? Text is... I'm at a loss here. I guess because it's not a sprite. It's a text bitmap. So I guess they might have a different radius scale for this. If that's the case, then we need -5 and 5. That'll just give it some wiggle. There we go. That's really subtle. But I do like it. I won't lie. I think I would like to see a little bit more of a dramatic twist. And we'll do 8 because we're on a 16 by 16 grid. So I think that will keep it in line with the rest of our development here. Chop, 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 chop. Chop, 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 chop. Chop, 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 chop. Chop, 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 chop. That's ridiculous. Obviously, we're going to be doing some weapon and item tweaking to animations, but that'll come later. That feels fun. However, I only want there needs to be a chop counter for the amount of hits that this tree can take, because this tree can get hit 5 times. and then break. But if I hold E, if I press E a bunch of times, because there's a wait, I need to decrease the wait time, I think, to like 2.5. Let's see what happens. Chop, 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 chop. That feels better. Chop, 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 chop. Yeah. All right. I like that. And replicating that system for other tools is not gonna is gonna be very easy. That's so funny. I really I really like the chopping. I think it's so funny. All right, I can play with that all day. It's starting to look like a game, isn't it? I'm impressed. We've made so much progress in the 13 days of development that we've done so far. What a joy. All right. I mean, I've done work off stream, so it's not exactly accurate. But in coding, other than yesterday, last night, uh, yeah, we've been working on it for this is our 13th day. Let's see here. What's next? Harvesting. Let's add some more. Let's add planting to our game now. We had it before with our drone, but we're gonna be adding a new tool, the hoe, and working towards allowing you to build plots to farm in. So first things first, we need a tool. So let's go to our art, go to Space Farmers, take our axe. We're gonna just slightly. Hey, what's up, Large Volts? Hey, it's you. Welcome, you. How are you doing? Let's see here. We're gonna kind of clean this up a little bit. We'll move that in. Yeah. Something like that. Gonna come back in. This color. Just kind of tune this up a little bit. I believe you were in my stream list a couple days ago. Well, yeah, I mean, stream-wise. Yeah. Yeah. I do recall. All right, so now we have a rudimentary version of the hoe. Absolutely, Bo. I was thinking about that in my head, actually. No, no, you're good. You're good. Those suggestions are solid. We're actually going to shrink down the axe a little bit. There we go. Let's make sure that these things are nice and centered. We got 2 off and 2 off. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2... yeah, there's no way to fix that, really, without shortening the handle. I do kind of like the fat-ended handle on the axe. But axes aren't built like that. So, and then we'll... okay. So now we have the basic tools that we would need. So we can... HTML and JavaScript. However, I'm also using GDevelop. So when I'm not... well, the engine is based off that. Anyways. So now we have our chopping. Chop, chop, chop. Oh, you know what, Bo? To do what you just said, I think that there's a really easy way to do this. And that's when we do the Z order, we do a modula. So this is the difference between... so mod, and then... so a modulas take 2 values. X as in mod Y. Okay, and then Y as in mod Y. So basically we have... let's see. We want to say tree spawner Z order, and then modulate that to the player's Z order. I believe. I haven't made a typo. These are numbers. These are technically numbers. Well, the Z order is based off its Y position. So we could modulate between the Ys, which I think would be the correct answer. Oh, is it a lowercase? Oh, it is. Oh, my. Okay, we're going to go back and check Z order first. And we're going to change mod to lowercase for modula. Hello. So no, it can't be Z order plus 1 because so the Z order is dependent on the Y axis because the trees are assigned if we look at the inventory manager in our world builder, my bad. Hold on, that's in our world generator, and let me go to the world generator. World manager. Our tree is set to the node group Y minus 8. And that way, that's because we want the tree node. Its origin is here, and we're going 8 up to select that as the place where on its y-axis. This is where it's being positioned, and so its Z order is here. And if the player is down here, we have to modulate between the player. But I have it backwards. It should be player to the tree, not the tree to the player. So I'm just modulating, I believe, in the wrong way. I try, and we can, and I'll show you, like, we can, for shits and giggles here, tree, I'll show you what happens when, because we did try this before. Watch this. We can't update the game like that. We actually have to restart it. Shwoop. Get our axe. Chop. Oh. Well, yeah. So it is behind the player, but now it's behind the tree. Because of the y-axis ordering. We would have to do, I think, a minimum of 12. Oh, wait, actually, I might have sent that in the wrong direction. Hold on. Oh, Chop. Chop, chop. We're in the same situation where it's riding over the player. So we need to then go back. Whoa, 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 whoa. Up here. Nope. Oh, oh, there it is. And we want to change this to players. Oh my goodness, player.Z-order to the tree Z-order. I believe this will fix the problem. Could be wrong. Nope, that actually made it worse. As we can see in the now it's coming from behind it. We went too far. We've gone too far. No. And it should be plus 12, not minus for 1. At the moment, I do not have a Discord server. Well, I do, but it's not quite set up yet for our game. But I will be working on that. Choppity. Chop, 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 chop. Oh, I have a Discord server already. Right here. There's a lot of my game stuff in it. I just have closed it down. This is why I was doing plus 100 in the Z order. And I need to lower it on the y-axis. Actually, it's spawning a little bit too high for me. We're going to move the text position on the tree. I think that'll make a difference. So now we can take the text position and we can move it downwards a little bit. I like this. That'll be fine. Okay, take this again. And chop. Chop, 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 chop. Chop, 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 chop. Chop, 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 chop. Alright. Cool. Alright, now adding the other weapons. So going to our tools, our held items. I've actually never played Undertale, I'm not gonna lie. Heard a lot of things about it. Just never played it. Let's fine-tune this axe a little bit. Give it a little bit more choppy. File, export, selected image at a scale of 1. We're going to go find our objects, items. I guess it's a tool, isn't it? Tool axe. We're going to save over our tool axe. Excellent. And then we're going to make a new tool and make it a hoe. going to save that. Excellent. So now, let's close down that. I don't need my Steam open. Yeah, I know about Undertale, I just have never played it. I'm not... In my game? I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. Alright. Now we've got our hoe. Oh, no. It will be available on itch. And it'll be available on web browser. And it will eventually be multiplayer. But we'll get to that later. Okay. So, the next thing. And soon I think I will start doing some early play tests just to have people test out the... once I get some basic mechanics in, like, building. But until then... Let's see here. We need seeds. We need a seed bag for what we're about to do. Let's make a new seed bag. Let me put my grid back on. There we go. And how am I going to represent the tree? How are we going to represent the tree, guys? Because there's no way that I can shrink that thing down to fit that bag. Tree. I don't know. I guess it doesn't really matter, does it? They could just be a seed. Or like a little stick, like a... I don't even know how it, like, there's no way to really... It's such a small canvas. It's just tree. There we go. Tree. T for tree. That's what we're doing. Boom. Look at that. Solve the problem, guys. We're on top of it today. T for tree. All right. Add a little bit of shading. Look at this. Look at that guy. That shading actually makes it look worse. There should be some shading right here, though. I don't know why I didn't do that. Alright. My bag is borked. I'll move this guy down. There we are. Properly shaded bags. Whatever. Okay, so now we're going to export our bag. We're going to add that to our game as well. I just really don't like that it says T. I know that I was like, oh yeah, this is great. I was lying. I don't like it. We're just going to use an empty bag for now. Alright. And this isn't a tool. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Oh, look at this. Our bag is not even properly sized. That's a fat bag. Let's increase our bag size. See, that's one thing we could do. Give us more drawing space by increasing the fat bag. Alright. I'll consider changing some more of that later, but for now, this will do. We're going to also export selected. This is a tool as well. It's a bag. Blank bag for now. All right. So going back into our game, we need to add this item to the held items, to the drag items, and to the collectible items. It's kind of a process anytime we add something new, but what we can do is go back into our game, go back to our sprites, objects, tools, axe. We're going to replace our old axe with the new axe. We're going to add a new animation and call it hoe. That is not oh my goodness. We're going to add the hoe. I see a slight mistake there, so we're going to fix it here by taking that, deleting that. There we are. So that's held items. Now we need to go to our collectibles. Do the same thing. Change the axe sprite. Delete that. Add a new one for hoe. Add a sprite. We're going to have to do this for each of the hoes. And I will fix that later. I'm going to fix it now, actually, because it's going to drive me nuts if I don't. So file, export, selected. Go back to our browse. Go back to our tool hoe. Replace it. Absolutely. There we go. That way I just don't have to fiddle with it later. And so that should be good for collectibles. Yep. And then we need to go to drag items, which is on the UI. And inside of here, same thing. Add another animation. Call this oh. I just realized I need to do the same thing for the bag. Shoot. I should have done that at the same time. We're going to re-export the bag because the bag has the blue background. We don't want that. There we go. And now we can go back to held items. Add a new animation. Call it bag. Add a sprite. What? What? I thought I exported you. What? Nah! I overdid the hoe! Oh. I don't even know how that happened. I don't know what's going on. Yes. Overdo that. Going back to our game. Add a sprite. Add the bag. Got it. Alright. Now, held items, collectibles. We need to add the bag. And in the drag item. Alright. So now, although it's not currently in the game, visible yet, all the items should be added. Wait, why did that happen? Wait, why is our choppies all messed up? Our chops were perfect before. Curse you, Chop! Why have you forsaken us? Why is my chop order? Wait, chop. Go back over here. What happened? Chop, chop, chop. Okay. What? Blasphemy. Oh. What? Alright. Whatever. Whatever, game. Whatever. Okay. So now we're going to go back into our game scene. We're going to duplicate our collectible. And just to make sure that everything's working right, we're going to change this to a hoe. Which is we'll change the animation. I went the wrong way. That's the hoe animation. And then we also want to change this to bag. And change that to... the animation would automatically change when we start the game, but let's just make sure that that's working. It is not working. Why? Why is that not working? I made it into a collectible. Just looking through our code here, trying to figure out why. Did I do something weird here? Not entirely sure yet. We're gonna try to figure out why that happened. Just gonna change the name of the item to bag, and we'll see what happens when I spawn. No? Okay, well... What? What? Wait. Oh, it has to do with the collision box. It has to do with the collision box. This happens to me every time. I always forget about this. The collision is way too big. I have a bag! But it's not showing up in my inventory. Because I have to do even more work. Alright. What a pain. I gotta simplify that process later on. Adding more items is gonna be a nightmare if I have to do this every single time. Alright, so here we go again. Now I have to export both of those as... Okay. File, export, selected, times it by 3. Now we need to go into our UI, items, and now we need to do bag. And actually, I think it needs to be twice. There we go. Yeah, there we go. It's only twice. No. Wait, that's a hoe. And then, now we'll do the bag. There we go. Now, we go back to here, add animation. First one was hoe. Next one was bag. Hoe bags! We're Today we're making hoe bags. Oh, hold on. No, why? Delete. Add sprite. Before we do that, we actually can add the inventory UI to both of them. And then we go to edit with pixel. We import image, hoe, next, combine, center, into existing frame, save that. Bag, pixel edit, import, file, bag, next, combine, middle, existing, save. There we go. Now when we pick it up, we have it in the inventory. So we got a hoe! We got a hoe and a bag. Hoe bags. That is a massive bag. And I'm for it. Alright. So now we have a hoe. And so we can now go back into our player. Go into the variables. Unlocks axe. And we can add a new one. And call it hoe. And it's a Boolean value started at false. Going back to our inventory manager to the very bottom. Very straightforward. We're just going to add these to their own event groups. We're going to call this axe. We're going to put that in the axe section. We're going to duplicate it and call this one... Wait, why did that happen? Oh, that makes sense, actually. Here we go. Put it right there. And now we can call this one hoe. If the player inventory has a hoe, and set the tool hoe to true, and why did that not change? There we go. If it contains the hoe, set the hoe to false. Super straightforward, super simple. Now we can check to whether we have these items in our inventory or not. So now that we have it unlocked, and we can validate that's true by going to our debugger, pressing refresh, scrolling to our player, clicking on our player, and right now we'll see, okay, we don't need to see the inventory, unlockables. So right now both are false, and then if we come collect them, that was interesting. Well, anyways, now we can refresh and see that we have both of them unlocked. And if I was to drop one of them and refresh, we can now see that we don't have a hoe. So that's perfect. So we're just checking Boolean values to see whether or not we have them, and we do. So now we can go back into our planting manager and start with plot management. So if the selector of the player is true, and we no longer have a drone, instead we're gonna say and the Boolean variable of the player, and we need to do a for each player. If the selector is true, so if right click is down and left click is pressed, left click mouse pressed, mouse button pressed or held, left mouse. If the left mouse is touched and the selector is true, and the player has the and the held item and we need to change this to a text. If the variable item name of item, is equal to hoe, trigger this. I'm gonna delete some stuff. Get out of here. We don't want it to create a radish. We want it to create a plot. So if we have the hoe in our hand and we left click, that's not working. My brain's not working right now. Oh. I don't know why I was making that so hard on myself. So very straightforwardly, we could just do it like this. That's the same, saying the same thing. Just in a different way. It still didn't work. Why? First of all, I need to bring back... for one, this has to be hoe. There we go. Got it. So now, only... So how this works is if you have a hoe in your hand, and the selector is visible, which I need to add. Oh no, it's already there. The Boolean value of selector is true. And you left click. Only do this once. You can't hold it and drag. It's just click once. And we're going to allow you to maybe cover up your hole. So like if the selector is true and you do have an inventory item and the selector is in collision with the farm plot, we're going to delete it. So now that we created one, we can say if the left button press selector is true, inventory true, true, and in this case the farm plot is actually we do action point. If the action selector point is inside of the farm farm plot X. Oh, sorry. If the action point selector center point X center. If the action selector is inside of the farm plot, I had that backwards, then we want to delete the object. Farm plot. Now this will probably delete all of them because now we're not managing this. Oh no. Cool. That worked. So now you can now this is happening at the same time. For one, what the heck? Why is this not a hoe? I could have swore I just changed that twice. But that's not causing my problem. My own brain is causing my problem. Let's go take a look here. I'll figure out how to cover up the farm plot later. I guess it's not really that important of a thing to do. So now we have the basics of plots. And as long, we can only do this as well as long as the action selector isn't in collision with a collisionable object. So, point. If the collision, this needs to be collision. If the collision entity okay. No, okay. I'm going to need to do some more logic building here with some toggles, but that's fine. I'll be able to do that later. I've only got another 45 minutes or so, and then I have to be off today, guys. So I'm trying to very quickly just bust through this. I haven't been talking as much today for that very reason. But we almost got our planting done, and once we have planting done, we can work on our day and night system, and then the basics of our game is done. The core mechanics are in place. Collecting, and then, well, most of them. We need to add fighting, mobs, AI, and then we're going to work on the planet generation. Because right now when I generate, you can see that I'm lagging every time I do a generation. So we're going to lower the chunks size to about a 10 by 10 rather than 32 by 32. And then we're going to be working with fine-tuning the generation and then clipping them all together. So, let's see here. Um... Okay. So, now that we have that, we want... let's see, we're going to add a... I like to keep everything organized. We're going to call this one plot builder. Let's see. We're going to make a new one called bag seed planting. Okay. So, in our inventory, we do some of this stuff already. Use inventory items. Is this the type of game that I would like to play? Yeah. I mean, I like farming games. This is actually more of a game for my wife. But I plan on making it, adding some more features that I enjoy. For now, right now I'm focusing on some core mechanics, planting, day and night cycles, and that sort of business. I want to fight mobs and do some other stuff. So, in time, it'll be more and more of a game that I want to play. But yeah. I should say for my wife and daughter. My daughter likes playing the games that I tinker with, and I know that she'd like this one. She's my little playtester. Okay, so now bags. Now we can use something from our inventory, right? But let's see here. Okay. So now we want to check. Back similarly to this. We're going to take this value, so let's start a new one. And we're going to say, if the Boolean value of selector is true, so if right-click is down, and the left mouse button is down, and the player's inventory contains a bag, and the animation of that is bag, so you're holding the bag in your hand, trigger this once. So very similarly to the plot builder, we're going to do this. Now, we're going to create I don't have the growth stages of a tree yet, so we're just immediately going to create a tree. And we're going to do the tree spawner. So now, effectively, if we create a hole and we have the bag, plunk. Why are you way over there? That's why. Oh! Whoa! We're on fire! This is amazing! Chop, 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 chop! The chops are so funny to me. Oh, I'm in tears. Oh, man. Alright. Okay. Honestly, for every tool, I'm gonna have to do it. Like when you do digging, it's gonna be like dig, dig, dig. It would be fun if you had to dig multiple times to build the farm plot. Like it takes 3 hits to build a farm plot, and then if you don't hit it 3 times within a certain amount of time, it resets its life. Same thing with like resources. And that way we could do the layers. So like every time you hit it, you can kind of see you're building more farm plot layers for immersion. That's so exciting. Chop, 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 chop. Chop, 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 chop. All right. So now we want to remove the bag after we use it. So so we're going to create it, and then we're just to so I don't have to reduplicate a bunch of text. We're going to remove that item from our inventory. So if remove the held items name every time we do that. Just one. What? What? I understand what happened there. There we go. Now it requires the thing to be in there. So now we can do this. Doop. It didn't work. Why didn't it remove the bag from our inventory? Oh, we have to update the quantity. Duh. So after we remove something from our inventory, right? Right here. So we can just copy this, move back to our planting manager, and paste it. And we need to bring over this as well. If our inventory contains the held item's name of string, so the hoe, or the bag, remove the bag. Take into account the text that it's assigned to that to an inventory square, and change it to that. If there is no longer, I think this would need to be outside of that argument, right? Yeah. No. We should just be able to do this. Duh! I deleted everything. Let me take a look here. Let me minimize this so I can focus in on this. Whoa! Stop that. Yeah, close it all the way down because it doesn't like to work sometimes when we do stuff like that. Trip. And okay. We got to work on that. This is Gdevelop. Gdevelop 5. Alright. So now that we got our hoe. Okay. There we go. So now at least we are removing... We have no more seeds. So even if I dig, I have no more seeds in my inventory. Although I have a bag slot, which is confusing. So, now we need to remove the item. So, under this condition, this works. However, if there is no longer a bag after we run this, then we need to do is this. Very straightforwardly. So now, if we till the ground, okay. So not quite. We just deleted everything. Let me think here. What's happening? Am I forgetting something? And I made that too broad of a statement, I'm pretty sure, in my planting manager. It does need to be... Not quite. What's going on here? That should work. Logically speaking. No. That actually didn't work at all. That made it worse. Let's try this again. Mother loving success! It helps if you put it in the right spot. That's what I'm talking about. Now, okay. Beautiful. Are you guys kidding me right now? Do you see this? This is amazing. So we have the backbones now of later on, instead of calling for a bag, we can check to see if the held item is a bag. And if it is a bag, check what bag type it is. And then we can pass that information in, so this little script will work no matter what type of bag we have in our inventory. It's just simply a matter of rearranging some of the logic and adding in a little bit more details. But other than that, very straightforwardly, we now have our farming process. Which is big deals. Big deals. That's a big deal. Because now we can plant. And so we can go to our trees. Let's go actually into our harvesting, into our trees. Here, we are spawning a collectible. Okay? And we're creating one collectible, and that is a piece of wood. Now, instead, I want to change the scene variable. Change the scene variable, scene number variable of random equal to random in range, 1 to 2. We'll do 1 to 3. And check this out. So now we could say scene variable. If the scene variable of random is equal to 1, do this. If it's equal to 2, do this. And if it's equal to 3, do something else. So this one's a little bit different. This one is 1 wood, this one is 2 wood, and if it's 3, we actually want it to drop 1 piece of wood, and then for now we're gonna say bag. Let's see. This is gonna break. Okay, so what we need to do, because this is a multi-parter, is we want to do all these once. We don't want it to trigger more than one time. Oh, which we already have up here, so trigger this once. And then what we need to do is split this up. So we create an object, change its text variable, and we're going to do that again. Now, I think I want to do this trigger just once. I don't know if it's necessary, but just out of caution, we're going to do it. Okay. So now, change this back to 3. Delete this. And this one we want to change to a bag. Ah! Ah! Did you guys see that? It worked right out of the gate. Okay. Okay. That sucks. Give me a seed! Arrgh! Give me a seed! Come on, man! Give me a seed! What the heck? The odds are not in my favor. There it is. Okay, cool. So now we can... Boop, boop, boop. I'm mouth breathing. That's insane. Are you kidding me? But... I must have been on top of... that slot. That was interesting. It... Off to finagle. There's something wrong with the pickup script. I noticed that there's a bit of a number issue there. So now, though, as we chop down our trees and we get more seeds, we can plant more trees. And that would be the case for anything now that we want to grow. So... we now have our new radishes that we can start growing. If we add ourselves like a radish bag. We got carrots. And... let's see here. No! My radish! My cabbages! There we go. Yeah. We also got wormies. Wormies crawl around. Let's see. I suppose, very easily, we could just take this. Can we stop, please? Paste it again. Do a nice little flip. Wrong flip. Hello. Whatever. Just gonna grab this and flip this vertically, not that way. Like that. Kind of looks like a pick. With very little effort on my part. And we could just kind of copy this out. That looks ugly. I liked it better when it was skinnier. Fix that. There we go. Still don't know how I feel about that, though. That'll do for now. We'll add that to our tool list. And that way we can now select ore nodes. And all we got to do is very easily, again, add the same logic in the nodes. It's basically a duplication of our trees. Instead, we're just adding... I might as well just do it now. I got enough time, I think, to do that before the end of our session. So let's go back into here. We need to create a pick is our new item. So first things first is we export the pick as a UI item. Then we drop down its pixel export, go to sprites, objects, tools, tool hoe, to tool pick. Save it there. And now go back to our game. Close this down. Go back to our code. In our planting manager, so we have trees. We can now just copy this, paste it, call this ore. And then for each instance of node spawner, we're going to... node spawner. We're going to have to do this manually, which kind of sucks. That's okay. Node spawner. I'm just going to copy the word and just paste it in here. Node spawner. Node spawner. What? Okay, so now we need to go to our... Here we go again. All right. Held items. We're going to add a new one. We're going to call it pick. Add a sprite. Go to our objects, tool, pick. Thought I was out of breath. The sigh. It was more of a just exasperation of like, I'm done here. Held items, collectibles, same thing. Add a new animation. We're going to move it up. Call it pick. Add the sprite. Pick. Drag item. Same thing. Pick. Add the tool pick. Move it up. And now in the collectibles, we need to edit the picks collision. Bring it down to a reasonable scale. I like to kind of just select the main part of the weapon, and that way realistically it kind of when it comes to you, it kind of overlaps a little bit with the player, giving it a little making it seem it has a little bit of a reasonable pickup range. A little bit of overlap maybe with the sprite, some stuff like that. So there we go. Now we should be able to pick that up. That should be a pick, not a bag. And we need to close. Whenever we add a new feature to our game, yeah, borked it. I borked it. I can't do it like that. I have to add a new every time I have to do this way. I don't know, not sure why it makes me do that, but something to do with the instance maybe. Whoa, where did that go? Wait a minute. Oh, and then I gotta set the animation. There we go. Okay. So now we have that. The problem that we're having, though, is that the inventory square doesn't have the pick yet. So here we go again. Doing this last part. Pick. Add sprite. Objects. UI. Edit with pixel. Import. Items. Didn't I export it at a ×2? I thought that's the first thing I did. What happened here? ×2. Browse. UI. Pick. I thought I did this. Interesting. I guess not. Let me just refresh that real quick. Select the pick. Ah, bollocks. Go back here. Import. The pick. I'm getting tired. I can tell. Combine with my sprite in the middle. In the existing frame. Boom, bada bing. Bada boom. Bada bing. Alright, let's pick up our stuff. There we go. However, do you see that? That's not quite right. We gotta find out why it's doing that. So back to our inventory manager, world manager, no. Planting manager. Negative. Yes. Yes. First of all, right there. So we just gotta copy the name and change the spawn point. This is G-Develop. You are correct. So now when I walk by nodes, there we go. It'll select them. And I'm missing a pick. You're missing a pick, fool. Go get a pick. Okay. Whatcha? I got a pick. Come over here and... Whoa. What do you guys think that it should say? Instead of chop. For mining. Like tink? Tink. Tink, 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 tink. Tink, tink. Okay, but why? Why does chop work, but Tink is freaking out? Aha! Because I didn't fix all of my script. That's why. Tink. Tink, 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 tink. That's so good. Oh, I love it. We need to draw better rocks, but... we want to address this so that way each instance of the node spawner, if the targeted is true, it's visible and the key is pressed. Do this. What's up, Don't Run Sean? How you doing, man? We're gonna move the hit to the very top because we want the hits to run out. If you hold it, hey, thanks, Sean. We've got some real cool stuff that we've added the last few days, or really today. We've got our farm plots. I realized, oh, I don't have bags, but that's okay. We can get some from our trees. There we go. We need to drop something. There we go. And now we can plant. Wait. That should have deleted. Okay, so we got a little bit of a bug. It seems like when the tree is in the first slot, it works. Let me go try to... There we go. So if it's in the first slot and we plant, it does take it away. But it seems like if it's not in the first slot... Let's go find another... There we go. Let's move it out of the first slot into the second slot. Okay, so now it doesn't... Alright, that's okay. Well, we can fix that. Oh, that feels so good, too. I'm honestly, like... Once we get some animation for the weaponry, I think we're really going to start seeing a major... visual upgrade. Of course, we don't have any sound effects yet. And currently we can tink the rock all day long and it doesn't break. And that's just because we don't have the ore configured yet for dropping stuff. I've got about 15 minutes left and then I gotta get going here. This would be a great time for you guys to ask questions or... yeah, just anything I can help you with or anything like that, now would be the time. So if we drag that out and drop it, yeah, we immediately picked up our bag. What's the story with the ship? Yeah, oh yeah. My next stream is planned for I want to say Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. If not Monday. I'm trying to start streaming Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. So that's about 4 hours, but anywhere between 2 and 4 hours. If you guys haven't, I would deeply appreciate a subscribe for those that are watching. If you found any of this useful or helpful, whether you are watching in real time or catching up later in one of our videos. I will be starting to make GDevelop tutorials for those that are interested in learning some more in-depth game development mechanics. Featured each of those videos will be featured around bite-sized digestible information. But Sean asked, what's the story with the ship? Well, in this game, in TerraFarmers, you start the game as a truck driver, a space hauler for the company Dale, dispensers of Astro Life Essentials, Dale. And as you are flying your ship, your cargo hauler, which has a bunch of trailers, which are somewhere in the game world, you're struck by a meteor or an asteroid in space, and you crash land on this planet. Dale tells you have a radio in your ship, and they tell you that it's going to be a few days until they can get somebody out, and so you have to survive with some bare necessities. Now, each of your ship containers have a specific type of plant inside of it, and those containers have fallen out, somewhere out in the great beyond, and they're wild and running around and terraforming the planet. You're not authorized as a terraformer to be here, so you rack up this incredible debt to this company, and they make you farm and harvest to pay off your loans, your debt, basically. And it's going to be very silly, very funny. And yeah, we got chop, 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 chop. Tink, 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 tink. That's so funny to me. I don't know, it's such a childish thing, but there's something just wholesome about seeing the, like, comic book style text. But that's the basics. And then Bo asked, is this a hobby or a job? This is a hobby, for sure. I would love to design and make video games for a living. This is the first video game I've ever made. Like, that I plan to do a full development on. And I think we're just going to change the harvest tool thing to say equip. Is the game on Steam yet for wishlisting? That's so awesome. I appreciate that you feel that way about my title. No. The game, 1, will be multiplayer. And 2 will be accessible via the web browser and itch while it's in single player. So before, it is co-op right now. I could plug in a controller and add some scripting to spawn the other player. But, so local co-op is functioning, but online multiplayer is yet to go into function. That's a long-term goal, but it'll be available in the web browser and on itch. And then maybe eventually we'll make it to Steam. Actually, there's a lot of game juice that we can be adding. Tweens and stretch and squash and a bunch of other even particle effects. It's actually really robust, believe it or not. Um, I do. I do plan on having some cosmetics. I don't. Everything that I design, I don't plan on adding monetization to the game. Maybe ad revenue if it is a free to play title, something realistic. But I don't plan on doing paid cosmetics. It'll all be things you unlock or find in the game. There will be. I'm working on a slime monster, similarly to like Don't Starve. You'll have a slime creature that maybe can hold a chest inside of it, so the slime will be much bigger. But you'll get a pet that follows you around with a chest inventory slot, and some other cool pet style characters. Of course, we're chasing slime ranchers a little bit. So our plants are kind of our slimes, if you will, if you are thinking about this like Slime Rancher. And so there's going to be a lot going on. I'm working on a space tile set for everything that's not terraformed. As you can see here, we've added an oxygen container. As you leave the oxygen bubble that you've generated with your trees, this will start draining. If this drains all the way, you'll die. There'll be equipment upgrades, inventory expansions, including a expanded inventory, which will pop up on the screen for you, like a backpack, essentially. Yeah, we still got lots to work on, but we're getting there. As for game feel, though, there's so many things that you could jam into what makes a game feel good. And I believe that most of it is obtainable through GDevelop. There is a FX game demo, and I'll open this in the web browser app so you guys can see this. This is a great demonstration on what some game feels that we can get into. Let me go ahead and turn off the music here, and we'll increase the sound here a little bit, so you guys. Oh, that is real loud. Let me turn that down just a little bit. So there's lots of, whether it's floating text, screen shakes, a little bit of everything. We can make it so in certain areas the audio changes, and this is again just a demonstration that was already available. Not sure exactly what that is supposed to do, but this is kind of showing you that there is a lot of game juice that we can add to our game. That's really intense blood splatter, I'll tell you what. And then between that and some other titles that you can check out, there's a lot of features for Game Juice. And some of it does come from extensions, but as you can see here, the only extensions is Smooth Camera, the Firing Bullet extension, and the Camera Shake. The rest of that's all done in code. And you can check out how that's done beautifully right here. Yeah, so if that's something that you're interested in learning more about, you can do that. Hello? Oh, that's because I'm offline. Duh. Yeah, and so that's that option. A lot of game juice. A lot of game juice. Right now, I haven't planned... to be honest with you guys, I have been developing like a bad developer. I have no game plan. None. I don't have anything written down about what I want to do. It's all inside of my head, which is not a great idea. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that. But I do know what I kind of want, and so I've just been generating my code depending on what I want to see in the game and fine-tuning it as I find it. I'm getting to the stage where I do need to start planning ahead and start thinking about building, what resources go into building structures, what happens when you build a structure, right? And then address our world spawning. As of right now, we do have procedural generation, at least one grid square at a time. I want to chop down the size of this grid square to a 10 by 10, so that way we can generate a lot of them much faster. And then as we get close to those, they'll be spawning and hiding as we move away from them. And those will be stored on the server or on the local client. And the load times when we come back to them will be very quick, very fast. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of our game juice is going to come from the animations later on. But that's it for me now, guys. I do got to get going here. I thank you guys so much for joining me on this adventure. And those that are joining us now are seeing, if you've noticed, I have changed my channel to Level Up with Alex. And as my name is Alex, and we're going to be doing some more videos. So if you guys can, please, at the end of, if you've watched all of this, and if you're joining us here on the live, at the end, if you can go to the video and comment below what you'd like to see as tutorials. If you want to learn anything about GDevelop, I would love to start making those for you. And start putting some shorts and YouTube videos on my channel. So if you got any comments about that, leave it in the comment section. But until next time, guys, ciao.